Hey everyone, Wanderbot here, and welcome back to Runers. Same start as last time. Priest of Prevnik, Elf, Droplet, I don't know, whatever. Mainly because I'm still trying to decide which is better in terms of, like, late game or higher difficulty, if Droplet or Chaos Bolt are the preferable things. Just had a drink, and, well, it's kind of awkward commentating when you have a little bit of water in your mustache. Sort of. Beard? Either way. Yes, I sort of have a beard. If you ever see me at a convention, I probably won't have said beard. But holy crap, that's a lot of rats. Oh, that's more rats. Okay. So this... Luckily, no hermit. That helps a lot. Also, I think I'm seeing some hearts drop, which is good. Which is really good. Because it seems like one of our general problems seems to be butt tons of hearts, though if last run was any indication, butt tons of hearts do not save your life. Because we had a fair amount. I think we even had the doctor perk. Maybe 2 runs before that we had 4, which was nuts, and that still didn't save our asses. I mean, mainly that was because of extremely unfair this, that, and the other things, but still. Okay, so we got a pair of speed runes, and essentially what I'm looking to do is actually emulate exactly what we had the last run, but do it right this time and do it sooner. Because we need a dark rune, a light rune, and a... I mean, really, realistically, I'm just looking to emulate the 3 things that I really liked about the last run. Sort of. And when I say 3 things, it's really... I liked the... what was it? Elemental Trident? That was an amazing spell, and I really, really want to see how, you know, how deep that rabbit hole goes. Because that has some really interesting applications that I would like to get acquainted with. The other one was the teleporty dark magic debuff. Well, I don't think it actually had a debuff associated with it, but still. I really, really enjoyed, and still enjoy that spell on a conceptual level and in execution. It's got really good range, and the thing is, you don't have to worry about aiming it that much purely because it kind of has a slight AoE effect, which is very much appreciated. Trying to avoid the mind bolts. Not 100% successful at this. Getting there. But if I can take out the mind mage at the very least, then we'll be good. Honestly, we need longer range than Droplet. And I'm actually starting to get the feeling that Droplet is, as I was considering, Droplet is actually worse than Chaos Bolt. But again, it's hard to tell. The problem is also Chaos Bolt has weird, you know, the weird, very short global cooldown. So it actually ends up getting depowered by slower spells like Droplet. So there is that consideration of just like, Chaos Bolt is really strong as far as like a base starting spell. But, uh-oh, that's bad. Well, at least we got several... Oh, that was really poor form on my part. I was like, oh, Curse of Prevnik them. Forgetting that Curse of Prevnik was not invulnerability in any way, shape, or form. Anyway, guess I'll have to go back for some of those hearts. That was dumb of me. Oh well, yeah, the problem is, you play on an easy difficulty for too long, you actually get some really bad habits. Probably should have just been playing on regular for a while, but at the same time, this did let us get a lot of rune combos that we normally wouldn't have been able to get. Or, at least, we cleared the game a lot more often than normal, which made me kind of happy. So, the main problem I'm running into right now is we simply don't have any good runes, so we can't make any combos. Because we got speed runes and earth runes, and if I had a second water rune, you know, I'd just do double droplet. Whatever. It would help. Hopefully they'd be asynchronous. Just, you know, for a slight damage boost. But the problem is the speed mages have spread out a little bit, and they're the ones I'm trying to kill. But I can't get hits in on them, and their hitbox is comparably tiny. And I'm actually doing a bang-up job dodging them, as far as I can tell. It's kind of hard to tell, though. Their speed bolts are fast. You can kind of time it, though, which is convenient. At least we got the rats done. But I'm a little bit on the injured side, and I'm really hoping one of them decides to give me both a dark and a light rune. Yeah, that would happen. Not... Okay. I guess the other spell is I really do like the spread shot water shot with the explosions. The problem is it's just a little bit more unreliable. It's got some really unique applications, and honestly, I'd probably still use it, but it is definitely less of a priority in my mind in comparison to, in comparison to, Elemental Trident. I think that's what it was called. I'm trying to avoid the zombies and everything as best as possible. Unfortunately, it seems like the flavor of the day is speed mages, which is a problem, sort of. Mainly, Kinetic Bolt has such a fast bullet speed, it ends up being a huge problem to dodge. Because once it's coming at you, there's almost no chance that you're going to get out of the way, unless you are already moving. And if you have an enemy in a very small area and you're trying to kill them, it's hard to hit them as you're trying to strafe them with a kind of crappy spell. But then again, Chaos Bolt kind of falls victim to the same thing. I don't know. I don't know which one's better. Nope. Not with what we got. If I can't get a better combo, I'm probably not even going to bother. Like, I'll probably bother, but I probably will go out of my way to not take any extra damage unless I absolutely am super close to potentially succeeding at it, but I highly doubt that. So, we need lots of runes, and currently they're not forthcoming. We've got a couple of health pickups, which is nice, but the well seems to have already dried up in that regard, which is a shame. I'm kind of surprised this game doesn't have, like, secret chambers of any sort. That was always something that was kind of interesting with Binding of Isaac. Interesting. Not necessarily always good. It's definitely one of those where it's like, I like Binding of Isaac, but if you don't have a nigh-perfect run, it's actually very hard to win. And I guess that's entirely true of this game, too. But, I don't know. It's one of those where it's like, I like Tower of Guns for a lot of reasons, because in Tower of Guns, yes, it is very possible for you to have a run where you're dying kind of the slow death. And you see the writing on the wall and stuff. And, like, it's possible. It's possible, but it's uncommon for that to happen. Which, to me, is really nice. Because I like it when a run could go either way. Or, you know, a run has a fair chance of success. Because the thing is, if it could go either way, at least you know you have a shot. In Runers, if you're running low on health and you're not getting health pickups, the writing is there on the wall, and there's nothing you can do about it. And to me, that's just one of the most frustrating experiences to generally go through, just because it's like, this is a run that I might as well just give up on. And I don't like giving up on things. I like winning, but it's one of those, it's like, if the RNG just does not feel like giving you health pickups, you're boned, and there's no two ways about it, which is a real shame, because I would very much like to be able to make dramatic comebacks, and yes, I have, in fact, made many dramatic comebacks over the, what, almost 40 episodes at this point? Yeesh. Wow. Kind of forget how much you've played a roguelike just because there's so much to it. And I will make this promise now, this series is probably not going to last forever. But it's definitely going to last a while yet, because I have yet to get bored of it, in any way, shape, or form. I am getting a little bit disheartened at the higher difficulties, but I think that's just a matter of strategizing and luck, and having a good build in plan, or, you know, the ability to make a good build out of whatever comes my way. And I guess one of the things that I definitely like about this game more than Binding of Isaac and Tower of Guns is there's such a variety to the gameplay that isn't directly behind RNG or, you know, predetermined at the very, very beginning of the game. So in Tower of Guns, you can pretty much just pick up... these fireballs are pissing me off. I'm not dodging them all because I'm trying to take out the rats, but we've got a rat's nest. And as much as I would... I'd say... I'm essentially cornering myself, which is a problem. The other problem is the droplet has this... Well, droplet has a fairly short range, much shorter than the fireball, that's for certain. And I have to close range strafe enemies, and if I can't get the hits in, then it becomes a problem, especially if there are 3 guys cornering me. Oh, well, man, that's a rat. But at least we're getting the health pickups to kind of counterbalance the fact that we took a couple of hits. So, Dying Wish, it's not great. Beast Tamer, Class Specialization, or, yeah, Class Specialization. It's such a solid spell. Also have to remember that... Oh. Huh. My hotkeys have changed back. Well, for the time being, I don't have to mess around with it. But once we've actually filled out our spells and beaten the first boss, then I'm going to want to switch them back around. Because auto attack does not actually need an... Oh, nuts. This is a problem. So, there's a fire rune there. And what we need is... Okay, I'm going to Curse of Krevnik them a little bit. I'm trying to keep them in a corner. I'm trying to take out the entropy mages. They can and will kill me. Like, there is a high chance I will die here and now. And that pisses me off a little bit. Because entropy mages actually seem to have a longer range than I do. Oh, okay, one left. And luckily he shoots slower than I do. But if I want to actively kill him, we're going to have issues. Because even if I'm doing my best at dodging... See? Seriously? God damn it. Okay, we're going with Chaos Bolt. I'm not even gonna do a second episode. So Elf, Swamp Mummy, Chaos Bolt. I've been trying to stay away from the Mummy just because he's such a go-to character for a lot of people, but at the same time, it's just necessary. Yeah, Chaos Bolt, despite its failings, especially at higher cooldown rates, is just necessary for this run. For higher difficulty levels. It's got great damage, great attack speed, and clears out groups of enemies far better than anything else. So we've got a Hermit over here. And as much as I'd like to take him out, I got more important things to do, like surviving. But yeah, I'm just gonna say this out and out now. I like the idea of Droplet, but either because of my playstyle, or because of my other, just base disabilities as a player, it's just very hard to fight them. I don't remember the entropy mages in the very beginning of the game. Maybe they are actually seen as like it's a better spell just in general. And God, I hate mulliganing that early on. Well, let's just murder the Hermit. I don't think he even has any level of recourse against me. I don't exactly know I was having trouble with that word. Uh-oh, this is bad. I have 10 seconds left on my class ability. And luckily, we don't have to worry about accuracy too much. I guess the thing is, at higher difficulties, it's really hard to have to worry about both your accuracy and dodging. And so that's why the whole spread shot thing that I'm trying to build for is so crucial. Because if you can spread shot, long shot enemies, or you have such great range that you don't have to worry about getting close to your enemies, except for in, close-up situations, what you can generally do is... could I make? No, I don't have any fire runes. I was thinking for a second I still had the fire rune from the previous, attempt at a run. But, if you have really long-range moves and you have a couple of, nice close-up spells to get rid of anybody that's close up to you, you can pretty much just focus on dodging and shooting in the general direction. Because the most important thing is not actually to kill your enemies quickly, 90% of the time. It's actually simply to not get hit. Of course, in the case of these speed mages, they outrange me, and they out-bullet speed me, so it's actually generally better for me to just kill all but one, and then I can kind of dodge him easier. Because it's very hard to dodge 3 speed mages that are deciding to pelt you with stuff. Whereas with Chaos Bolt, kind of get in there. It's still not working. Speed mages and entropy mages are really threatening. Fire mages too. All the other ones less so. Earth mages can do a lot of damage to you the moment you stand still. But as long as you're moving and not doubling back too much, it's not that big of a deal. Seriously though, it's intermediate is hard. Like on Wimpy and regular, you can generally kind of make up for your failings, but not this. Okay, so we need a light rune, and we'll get the long range spell. we need a fire rune and an entropy rune, and we'll get that other spell. So I'm just kind of hoping that we get lucky, fairly lucky as we go along. So we got event room. What is it? Shrinkify. So I'd like to do Shrinkify. This is a good one. This is one that I could definitely do. But I'm not going to do it yet. What I'm in here for is largely to bust up all these boxes. Because if one of them has a rune for me, that'd be nice. And if none of them have anything for me, oh well. Would have been a little bit miffed if it turned out one of them had health in it and I accidentally picked it up. Okay, so back with the speed mages. We also have a pair of rat nests, which is kind of a serious problem. So I think what I'm actually going to do is try and kill that singular speed mage I had cornered over here. Come on, come on. Ow. Okay, we got him down. And we got a lot of rats, but we also have a health pickup. So we got that going for us. I'm also... There we go. One speed mage left. Because the thing is, the rats are dangerous, but they can be kited around. And once I've taken out that speed mage, at least tried. I'm trying. It's not working. my ability to... Well, I guess it's Chaos Bolt. Go figure. But my ability to hit him right now kind of sucks. Oh, hello. Ah! Okay, so there is part 1 of our build. So, let's bust up all of these rocks, all of these boxes, grab the health. We're a little bit injured, and then we're going to go in here and speed and light. Dark Calling, right? Yeah, Dark Calling. Ooh, and we get extra knockbacks and cooldowns. Or reduced cooldown. Perfect. So that at its beginning is already pretty solid. I'd say with this extra attack spell, I can confidently take on Shrinkify, not have to worry about it too much, because we do solid amounts of damage, to the point where we're actually powerhousing it pretty hard. So a lot of those initial fears, really, I guess, level 1 is only hard. Really, I guess the first couple levels are only hard, up until you have a decent combo. And once you're past that, then it's not a big deal. So we could go with the double combiner, but I'm going to go with a fire rune. And floating. Okay, there we go. We got health. Now, it does look like our long-range nuke is messing with the cast rate of Chaos Bolt just a little bit. It's not nearly as substantial as Droplet, but it is getting close to that situation where Chaos Bolt is... Well, I mean, honestly, we've gotten to the point where Chaos Bolt's damage output, or DPS, has been significantly impacted as a result of this. Do have to watch out for that shrine getting in my way, because we've got this super cool long-range nuke that I seriously love. Problem is, it can move things into our path. Luckily, it does not affect bustables, which is nice. It also does kind of suck if you hit an enemy in melee with it, but that's why we ideally would like to get Prismatic Devil along the way. If we can't, it's not the end of the world, but I really hope we do. So, other spells that would be nice, the bouncy spell's not bad. Supernova is nice, but honestly, it's such a risky spell to use. It's very effective, but you have to be so up close and personal to anything, simply to use it, that it does pose some interesting problems. Let's see if I can bust up this one. I want to pick up that heart. I'm not sure if I'm injured in the slightest, but I'd prefer to be full health and have plenty of health runes sitting around, or at least close to full health. Really, I just... I hate wasting. But now, because we have such a long-range spell, I can keep my distance, and since the spell itself does not necessarily need to be accurate, I can just kind of fire it into the general direction of an enemy, and it will do my dirty work for me, which makes this actually probably the best long-range nuke in the game thus far. Scarlet Salvo is definitely a great runner-up. The only problem I would... hello. The only problem I would say that puts it behind is Scarlet Salvo. The projectiles can be, you know, blocked. Whereas this one, yes, the projectiles can sort of be blocked, but at the same time, tight spaces... I guess it does have weaknesses where if you're fighting an enemy in a really tight space, you could get a little bit screwed up by it. Anyway, if you noticed, we got an entropy rune. I was asking for this. So right now, I'm currently just making as many... What's the cooldown on this one? It's 1.22. So we could probably find something a little bit faster than that for an attack speed spell. Honestly, if I get lucky enough and could have 2 of the long-range nukes, it's tempting, but at the same time, I think between Elemental Trident, long-range nuke, I'm gonna say if I can get Prismatic Devil, fine. If I can't, I wouldn't mind I wouldn't mind Scarlet Selva. Yeah, there's one of the problems with the long-range nuke. If there's an enemy in melee close to you, it will stay in melee just because the nuke will prioritize it, which is admittedly a problem. Part of the reason why I would like Prismatic Devil. It does keep any level of biter off of our asses. And I like my butt. So, because we got Elemental Trident now, and the long-range nuke, we really can just kind of skirt around large groups of enemies and nuke them from a distance. It makes life a heck of a lot easier. There's the one consideration of I could actually do the double Dark Calling or whatever it's supposed to be called, but the problem I have with that one is A, we wouldn't be able to break anything, and B, that would exacerbate the problems of any enemy in melee trying to hit us. That would be a serious problem. So, let's go down. What can we do? Cooldown reduction. Sounds perfect. Because light levels, water, rune, earth levels, they're all tempting, but cooldown reduction helps everything. And substantially, too. So, because if I could, and I don't think you can reduce the cooldown of Elemental Trident. Nope, you can't. So we're pretty much left to cooldown reduction and stuff like that. Anyway, let's just bust through all of these things. And keep going. So thus far, I'm actually feeling pretty encouraged. We're probably still going to run into some issues along the way, but at the same time, we've got... nice thing about Elemental Trident, it's actually very good in melee, too. Or at least, sort of. Looks like we picked up some kind of health somewhere. But pretty much anything close to you just gets uber nuked. I kind of wish I hadn't picked up whatever health there was, because I do actually kind of prefer to have savings instead of accidental pickups. But they weren't exactly giving me a whole lot of options there. So, how are we going to do this run? I mean, how are we going to go from there? We've got, or how are we going to go from here? We've got a lot of earth. Oh, there's an entropy. So if I can get my hands on, there's a shock rune. That might have some interesting applications. I think it was like shock and water that made the explosive spell. I think I'm going to go with the explosive spread, because as much as I like Elemental Trident, it's better against small groups as opposed to large groups. So we can do class specialization. That's where... Oh, wait, no, that was the previous run. Duh. Collectomaniac's not great. Yeah, I'm going to go with class specialization again. Being able to go invincible more often, very useful. So we got 1 health and we're a little injured. I'm crossing my fingers that... Here. Let's see if I can actually figure out what the explodey spell is. It's water shock, right? Static link? No. Traveler? No. Biting echoes? No. Okay, so it's not actually... It's definitely a water spell. Was it like water something? Yeah, it was. It was... hello. Divergent Catalyst. There we go. Water light. And we've actually almost got all of the double water spells, which is interesting. And, I mean, technically we have all the triple water. So we need another water. And we need another chaos, and we need another light. Because if I can get that one, if I can get all of those, at the very least we're going to be covered pretty much across the board for long range, melee, spread. Oh, this is a mess. See, this is the current weakness of the build, because Chaos Bolt would normally be my group clearing ability, but we've got such a good ability at bringing enemies closer to us that I should probably actually just turn it off whenever I get up close to things. Memory. Let's try it. Left, top. Oh boy. It was left, top, this one. I want to say this one? Damn. Okay, well, I really need to work on my memory skills. Unfortunately, I will say this, and I'll say this again. I actually have a pretty bad memory. Right, I need to turn my things on. Actually, let's turn on Chaos Bolt. And I don't want my long-range nuke for... Okay, now I want it. There we go. Perfect. Get the shock speed, take him out. Let the long-range take care of the speed mages. I'm just kind of strafing back and forth. Okay, yeah. Taking the slow approach here is not dishonorable. The problem is, and I was kind of talking about this on a previous episode, it really annoys me that enemies that are off-screen can still hit you. Like, they know where you are, regardless. And to me, that's really obnoxious, because I don't believe that... it just feels weirdly imbalanced, and I understand it, but it still annoys me from a conceptual standpoint of, like, I can't see them, why can they see me? And it's a problem with widescreen type gameplay. Or really any gameplay where any level, top-down gameplay where the screen is, or anything is off the screen. And maybe it's a niggling issue to most people, but to me, especially as like a player that's trying to get far in a fairly complicated game, or at least challenging. Maybe complicated is not the right word I want to use here. Actually, I need to take out that hell portal. There we go. We got some extra hearts. That's good. That was very well placed invincibility. And there's the mind rune. We could do double water mind. It's tempting. High roller. Latent force. Latent force. This way, anything that gets close to me gets knocked back, which is probably exactly what we need. I don't think it negates any damage we take, but at the same time, it's some level of protection that we're not normally afforded. Okay. They actually also seem to be collecting a fair amount of other stuff, which is good. I'm just trying to prioritize some other... Oh, geez, that's a level 2 hermit, a level 1 light elemental. That's kind of a problem. Kind of not. I guess it's just a matter of perspective at this point. Yeah, I definitely want the extra... I definitely want the extra entropy for Prismatic Devil. I'd love to buff up Elemental Trident, but at the same time, currently, I actually like how much it spreads just because it has... Oh, damn. There is apparently some health in that box. Note to self, don't just bum rush. Okay, we are... Okay, I'm very glad I actually went with the knockback, anything that touches us. Because one of the problems is with enemies, if you get hit by a rat or a bat or a swarmer, there's no very temporary iframes when you get hit, which is kind of unfortunate. I honestly prefer games that do afford you some amount of that nonsense. Actually going to go invincible here for a second, because otherwise we're going to have some problems. Mud Golem's kind of a jerk. Actually doing alright here. Let's hide behind this pillar for a second. That's a lot of health. And, okay, our inventory is actually full. Well, first and foremost, we might as well make it the eponymous mindlessness. Gives us a bonus to bullet speed. I don't actually know if that's afforded everything else. Anyway, let's get the mind rune, get the earth rune. We don't have any triples. Doesn't surprise me that much. So, we could actually make a second elemental trident. That seems dumb. It's not a bad idea. It just seems weird. And honestly, variety is the spice of life, and I like my life spicy. I don't like my food spicy, interestingly enough, but I like my life spicy. So we could go with Traveler, which is a solid spell in all respects, but again, it doesn't solve our problem. We are very weak in melee. We don't have anything good thus far. Tranquil Twigs isn't terrible. It's actually kind of an interesting bonus, but again, it's not what we need. Fusion is a great spell, but Fusion is best when combined with itself and not anything else. Visper's Offering, tempting. Seismic Stomp isn't bad, but it doesn't actually do much damage. What we need is something that just whomps everything remotely close to us. Fortify, Rebound, Unstable Strength, Biting Echoes. I mean, Oh, right, we already have 2 water. So, we did get red lightning. This was a consideration. And I ended up not getting it just because the range was alright. The damage over time isn't bad. You can boost the range on it. It also seems to attack behind you. It's tempting. You know what? Let's do it. I'll probably just get rid of Chaos Bolt, just because Chaos Bolt isn't that great right now anyway. So, I wanted to use this spell previously, but it didn't fit into the build. And what I'll probably do is replace Red Lightning with Prismatic Devil when I get it. Or, I'm probably could have done Flame Salvo? I don't know, whatever. This will have to do. We still have bad group clearing potential here. But, I don't know. Holy crap. That's a different beast than I was expecting. Huh. That was not what I was expecting from this area at all. Hey, there we go, Entropy Rune. But yeah, okay, Red Lightning does actually seem like it's going to have some amount of space on our build. It's long cooldown, but it's got great range, and it's got the interesting effect of attacking things behind us, as well as doing a damage debuff, which we don't have, and could be very useful against bosses, especially that freaking clown, because I think he can still be hurt with debuffs, just can't be hurt with a lot of other stuff. Okay, so Water Light, that would go on our build. Prismatic Devil would go on our build. If that's the case, I might run into some issues, but honestly, it's one of those where I'll probably take Mindlessness off. I'm going to go with the Entropy Rune. We need it. Okay, so I'm going to take Mindlessness off the build for the time being. The buffs from Prismatic Devil and just the overall benefit of it vastly outweigh everything else. So, Mindlessness goes into storage for a little while. Goodbye, Chaos Bolt. Now we've got a lot of stuff that I should probably use. At least buff some of our spells before things happen. So, really, we've got Elemental Trident, but I want to save the water. We've got this, which already has a decent range damage. I'm going to just save the runes. Okay. And, yeah, speed's going to save, mine's going to save. Okay. Well, we can essentially use our shoulders for semi-long range stuff. And the one question I have about Red Lightning is, does it strike through, or does it... Well, I guess here's the question. Nope. Come on. No, it does not strike through. That's a shame. I was really hoping we could get some strike through in here, but as it stands, not the end of the world. We do get a heart right off the bat, and the one problem we're also going to have to run into with Red Lightning is it's not a specific direct target type spell, which does have its disadvantages. Luckily, it's solid thus far. I think I would still get the uh-oh. There we go. I don't even know what I got. I think I got a health somewhere along the way. That's a lot of bandits. Trying to figure out... Let's see. Okay, so we get fire. We get... Take out the magnet crawler. I'm probably going to buff Prismatic Trident before both Prismatic Devil and Red Lightning, because if I can get a really high damage spread shot type ability that does... that pretty much takes everything out and does a lot of damage. Like, it does more damage than everything else currently. Also wouldn't mind the Water Fire Shock spell, but at the same time, I've already used it on a couple of runs right now, and this is working out largely as well as it could. Because we've got Prismatic Devil for close. A lot of other... Okay, it's Shrinkify again. So what we're going to do is quickly just bounce into everything. Looks like the damage over time does not actually take out the enemies. Okay. Well, we're on level 3, and if we can get a light rune here, what I'm probably going to do is not immediately make the buff spell. Okay, let's go. What I'm probably going to do is hold off just for a second until we kill the boss, get the extra slot. That's a lot of health pickups. Actually, wow, we killed everybody. Okay, and considering... So we're going to get the light rune. I'm going to hold on to it. Because we want that explosive spell, but we don't want it immediately. Really? We move very fast. This probably might kill us. I have some interesting questions about this. Actually, that seems pretty encouraging. So we might actually have to worry about stuff a little bit. But we move so fast that we can actually outrun a swarmer now, which is generally pretty unusual. And that's actually very encouraging. So the one thing about this run is, honestly, I will probably end up replacing... I'll get the 1 health. I'll probably end up replacing Red Lightning. It's a decent spell, but at the same time, there are better spells out there. Like, I was thinking about it, and it's like, Dark Wind actually wouldn't be a terrible addition too. Just because the one problem we can run into is a bunch of enemies being on the other side of somewhere that we can't reach. And it's also, you know, insanely long range. And generally also doesn't have to be accurate, because the problem with Red Lightning, you actually need to specifically, you know, hit the enemy. Whereas Elemental Trident, that like boom water spell, whatever that I'm about to make, and some other stuff, they all end up not being very effective. Okay, that's a hell portal. They all end up having issues. Well, they not end up having issues. They have no issue hitting targets as I'm moving. Whereas Red Lightning requires a fair amount of precision. And as awesome as it is, and long range as it actually is, it still does have its drawbacks. And I'd prefer to have build that complements itself fully. I'd love to use it, and it's probably one of the best anti-boss spells that's currently available to me, but at the same time, I generally seem to well, I guess it's one of those where it's like, if I die fighting a boss, I don't feel bad about it. But if I die before a boss, I feel terrible about it. And unfortunately, it's not one of those where I can actually have an alternate set of runes just for fighting a boss. Not to mention, I've already built myself for moving fast. And, well, it is kind of a pain in the ass aiming Red Lightning already. Kind of a pain in the ass aiming Elemental Trident. At least, to Red Lightning's credit, it has a huge hitbox as far as spells go. Now, I do have to worry about the bat a little bit. It's not that big of a deal. Honestly, I'm actually really happy that we went with the second float. The one problem we run into is if I ever have to like change directions, that's kind of a problem. But apart from that, I'm going to go with Underdog. And can't pick up Dark Rune anyway. We've got a lot of runes, which is very encouraging. Pretty much means I can make whatever I want. I just need to clear up some space, and currently can't do that. I might be able to buff some spells, but... I mean, I could buff Mindlessness. It's not bad. I don't think I have anything that uses wind. Or earth, actually. That's a concern. I could put speed in there. Dark... Yeah, no. Unfortunately, my entire build does not actually have a whole lot of reliance on the runes that I have the most of. Go figure. I'm just going to see if I can Frankenstein them into something cool as soon as we find and coordinate the boss. So I'm going to go invincible for a little bit here, just because it seems like this room layout sucks a little bit, and I kind of prefer living. Okay, there's all but one bandit down. Murder his face. Perfect. Yeah, because the entire point of this run and build is killing enemies without being A, remotely near them, but B, remotely accurate. So, let's just blitz across, and I guess I can get the Dark Rune. I'm gonna hold on to it. Range. Buffing the range isn't bad, but at the same time, it's not the end of the world. I can get another speed rune. I don't think, even if we're gonna be fighting Blazia, I do not think... Oh, that's where the boss is. I'm surprised I didn't notice that earlier. Well, doesn't matter that much. What I'm gonna do is pop in here, grab that. The one problem with this build, and I keep saying there's like one problem. Realistically, there are many. Droploid. Didn't I fight Droploid the last time and say that we are uniquely suited for fighting him? I guess Droploid really wanted a grudge match against the same version of me, that's out for revenge. So the inherent problem with Droploid is after a certain point he becomes unmanageable. Luckily, by the time he does that, he's on to tier 3, and there are only a couple parts of him which can be dispatched with some relative degree of ease. So at this point, let's go invincible and just churn through his parts. That was pretty much the easiest boss fight I've done in a while. Very convenient. Right, he also has the bouncy spell. Okay. I don't remember if the... Yep, those rings actually do damage to you. Well, we've got almost nothing left. So, we got a triple combiner Runedex. Let's see what we have that's creatable. Undiscovered. So, we have air, earth, and... Let's go back. We have air, earth, speed to a degree. I'd almost want to keep speed for a little bit. Air, earth, shock. Because, yes, I could use shock and red lightning, but that's not that big of a deal. Okay. Right. I was going to make this. Divergent catalyst, I'll put that there. Red lightning, I'll put you here. Because I like red lightning, but at the same time, actually, I can still use it. Because we can go into the options, controls, and shoot left A, shoot right, oh. Shoot right B. There we go. Now we go back. Okay, so I got speed runes. I've got a fair amount of mind runes. Could do that. Okay. Creatable spells. Undiscovered. Air, earth. So we got air, earth, earth. Air, air, earth. Air, earth, mind. Let's go with the triple whammy. See what I can make. Electrified earth ball. Long-ish cooldown. Has a stun, does a lot of damage. Speed. That's interesting. Okay. I like the idea of red lightning. What's the range on it? Oh, it's got a short-ish duration. I guess it's one of those where it's like, do I replace red lightning at this point in favor of a spell I don't entirely understand? It's tempting, purely because it's interesting. It does a lot of damage. So does red lightning. I got about the same cooldown, it's just a little bit. What's the range? See, the problem is I don't know how the duration works. So it goes about the third the distance of... I have no idea. I can make the speed... Oh... Okay, I'm gonna keep it. I'm gonna get rid of red lightning, and I'll keep mindlessness at least a little bit longer. Because what we can do is pump a lot of air runes into this one. Let's see how much it increases the speed fairly substantially. So the thing is, if we can get that to fire faster, so it moves faster, then it's going to clear the distance and hit whomever. So let's see. We got bumpers. Let's do that. Okay. Left bumper, right bumper, trigger. So we got the rock. The rock actually moves fairly quickly. That could be really useful. The thing is, it's got also fairly high range, I think. Let's actually get over here and see how far it goes. No, it doesn't. It's actually got a pretty sorted range, which is a problem. I could see getting a... Honestly, I can see myself replacing it as I go along. Again, like Red Lightning, it has a place in a build somewhere. But not in this build, not today. So, first and foremost, I don't like the fact that I'm pulling both bumpers and triggers. I think I'd prefer at this point... Ow, those swarmers hurt. I think at this point, what I would prefer is actually to have buffs, if I could. Probably not Harding's Radiance, just because that has such a chance of just like careening me into my own death, especially the fact that I'm already floating so bad. That I'm probably... Yeah, okay. So what I'm gonna do is, when I have the runes for it, I will make the bouncy room spell. You know, the one that hits pretty much the entire room with little bouncy bits. That one is probably going to be top of the line for me. let's get the duration on this one pretty long. At this point, I'm going to get rid of some runes. A, to clear it out, and B, just to buff my stuff. So, wouldn't mind buffing the speed on Elemental Trident. Crit multiplier, it's not much. I don't need that. I kind of want to save runes, too. Oh, wait, no, we don't need air runes for that. We need entropy. There we go. Because if I can get Elemental Trident down, that's probably for the best. So I'm going to put Electrified Mud Ball, whatever it's called. Because it's got some interesting applications, but at the same time, there are better ones. And this way we can use Mindlessness and not have to worry about pulling bumpers and triggers at the same time. Because I would prefer not to have to multitask as much. I could do Sexta Shot, but at the same time, I really don't want to. So, let's go down. I'm going to go with the max HP. Survivability is more important than a little bit of damage. So, at this point, we are going on to level 4. So that means tier 2, which means I'll see you guys on the next episode of Runers, where hopefully we'll actually make it up to the boss this time, instead of dying right before in a hideously embarrassing manner. So, see you guys then, and as always, thanks for watching.